think, oh, perfect. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening. For those in virtual attendance, please note that there is a globe icon near the hand feature on your screen. This will allow you to listen and participate in tonight's event in Spanish.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos los participantes. Por favor, tengan en cuenta que hay un icono de globo en la barra inferior de su pantalla de Zoom, donde pueden elegir el idioma español para escuchar la reunión en dicho idioma.
Our interpreters this evening are Rebecca Knight and Ricardo Perez Delgado. Thank you both for your time and services. Vice Chair, when you're ready, we can proceed with the meeting.
Thank you. Welcome to the Independent Redistricting Commission, April 7th, 2022 regular meeting. This is a virtual meeting with the IRC members and city staff attending remotely to ensure that proper social distancing in this federal, state, and local emergency. I would now like to do a roll call. I'd like to introduce staff and commissioners present. Commissioner Ballas, Commissioner Earhart, Commissioner Hill, Commissioner Saad, and Commissioner Walter. I'd also like to recognize Commissioner Alternate Marquardt, and I don't believe Commissioner Alternate Kissel is in attendance tonight. I would also like to introduce the staff present, who include the City Clerk Judy Herron, Administrative Assistant Sarah Sandoval, and Assistant City Attorney Tamar Burke. Admin Assistant Sandoval, would you please provide instructions to the commission and members of the public on how this meeting will proceed?
Thank you, Vice Chair Gilmer. I'm happy to do so. At this time, we ask that the members of the IRC remain on screen for the duration of the meeting. You will control your own webcams and microphones. Staff will engage webcams and microphones to make presentations and respond to members of the advisory body. Members of the public who are in attendance and wish to provide public comment, after the chair calls for public comment on the item you wish to speak on, please engage the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen. For those who are calling in on a landline or cell phone, please press *9 to raise your virtual hand. That concludes the directions, and I return the meeting to the Vice Chair.
Thank you. We will now proceed to public comment. Under public comment, the public may address the Independent Redistricting Commission, or IRC, on any subject not listed on the agenda. Each speaker may address the IRC once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction in which you live. The IRC cannot act on items not listed on the agenda and therefore cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under the public comment other than to provide general information. Administrative Assistant Sandoval, can you please call for general public comment?
Thank you, Vice Chair. At this time, any members of the public wishing to comment on any subject not listed on this evening's agenda, please engage the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen or press *9 on your landline or cell phone now. This will be our final call for public comment on any subject not listed on this evening's agenda. Okay, seeing no hands, Vice Chair Gilmer, please continue.
Thank you. Under the consent calendar, the IRC may take action to approve routine business items in one motion unless a commissioner, city staff member, or a member of the public requests that the item be discussed or continued to a later date. Administrative Assistant Sandoval, please call for public comment on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Before I do that, can I go ahead and provide the commission with an update?
Please.
Okay. Staff just wants to notify the commission of an error on this evening's agenda. It states that the IRC will be approving the minutes for March 24th, which, as you know, the IRC approved last week at the March 31 meeting. So this evening, we are approving the minutes for March 31 for item D1, and this will be corrected in the minutes for this evening as well.
Thank you.
Of course. And for public comment, at this time, any member of the public wishing to comment on the consent calendar, please engage that raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen or press *9 now. This will be our final call for public comment on the consent calendar, item D1, except the Independent Redistricting Commission minutes for March 31st, 2022. Okay, seeing no hands, Vice Chair Gilmer, we can continue.
Thank you. Is there any commission discussion or questions on the consent calendar? I do not see any, so I will ask if there is a motion to accept, a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar, which includes the meeting minutes for March 31st, 2022.
This is Commissioner Ballas. I move that we approve the consent calendar.
Commissioner Hill, I second.
Thank you. Admin Assistant Sandoval, please state the motion and call for a vote. Admin Assistant Sandoval, could you please state the motion and call for a vote?
It's like Sarah may be having some technical issues, so I will go ahead and state the motion. It is to approve the consent calendar. Any further commission discussion or questions? Seeing none, by roll call vote. Commissioner Ballas?
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Saad?
Yes.
Commissioner Walter? Commissioner Walter?
Commissioner Walker, I think you're,
Thank you. Commissioner or Vice Chair Gilmer?
Yes.
And the motion passes with Chair Ariano absent. Thank you.
Thank you. We will continue to item E, public hearing. This public hearing is a formal proceeding held in order to receive testimony from all interested parties on the proposed action or issues. This is the 6th public hearing to receive input regarding draft maps of the city's proposed voting districts and select by minute order the final map for adoption at the commission's final meeting and approve a preliminary redistricting plan and draft map along with the written statement of findings and reasons for the proposed adoption, which shall include the criteria employed in the process and a full analysis and explanation of decisions made by the IRC. I would now like to introduce Assistant City Attorney Tamar Burke.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we will be having our 6th public hearing to review and take comments on the final, I believe, 6 maps for the commission's consideration. Following the commission's decision on which map will be moving forward, we will work together to draft a preliminary redistricting report explaining, consistent with the resolution, establishing the IRC, explaining the commission's decision and the analysis for those decisions. And I think we have a presentation from our demographer, or perhaps we just jump into the deliberations. Go ahead, Alex, if you've got anything for us.
This is Alex with GeoNova Solutions. Thank you, Assistant City Attorney Burke. We do not have a formal presentation for this evening, but what I can do is I can just go ahead and provide a brief overview of the information that was provided to city staff, and just a brief overview of the maps that were passed on to this meeting. So 3 maps were passed along to the April 7th meeting, which is today. 115, 120.2, and 131 from the previous meeting. In addition, the Independent Redistricting Commission did make 3 requests for minor changes to those maps, resulting in the creation of 115.1, 131.1, and 131.2. Those maps will be the focus of today's discussions, and with the help of Assistant City Attorney Burke, we will hopefully come to a decision and narrow it down to the final districts this evening. So good luck, commissioners, and I will hand it back over to Vice Chair Gilmer.
Thank you, Mr. Sands. At this point, are there any clarifying questions from the commission before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, I would like to formally open the public hearing. Administrative Assistant Sandoval, do we have any public comments at this time?
Thank you, Chair Gilmer. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to speak on item E1, the 6th public hearing to receive public comment input regarding draft maps of the city's proposed voting districts and select by minute order the final map for adoption at the commission's final meeting, and approve a preliminary redistricting plan and draft map along with a written statement of findings and reasons for proposed adoption, which shall include the criteria employed in the process and a full analysis and explanation of decision made by the IRC. Please engage that hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in from a landline or a cell phone, please press *9 now. This will be the final call for public comment on our public hearing, item E1. Seeing no hands, Vice Chair, you may continue.
Thank you. I would like to formally close the public hearing and move to open for the commission discussion and direction on the proposed maps. We have 6 maps. I believe we've been through several of them. I would like to get the commission's feeling on how they would like to proceed. Would you like to look at the maps from the first through the last, or would you prefer to look at the ones that were modified this week first and then go back and start at 115 and move forward? Does anybody have a preference? Okay. In that case, I propose we just start at 115 and we go map by map. Is that acceptable to everybody? Wonderful. So we will move to the first map, which we have discussed several times, is map 115. This map, well, I will open it up to comments from the commission on this map.
This is Commissioner Hill. I have a quick remark. This map number 115 has a variance of 8.28, which is about a point less than the current map. And it displaces, so it moves voters from the district they're in into a new district in 3 areas, and it totals 6,293 voters is the number who would be in a new district. So that's a high number, probably the size of a district. On the other hand, this map has advantages in that it's set up in order to have the new transit and development that are coming in along El Camino Real spread across two different districts, so that two different members of the council will have the combination of the single family home neighborhoods and that very busy new area along El Camino. This map maintains the neighborhood communities of interest. It does not maintain the school district communities of interest, but we have not been focusing on that as much. That is everything I wanted to say about it.
Commissioner Earhart.
Yes, earlier in the week, I had sent a question to City Clerk Heron and asked if the demographers could provide information. So what I was looking for was to find out for each of these maps, the number of voters who would be expecting to participate in this current election cycle, like they would be moved to a district where they wouldn't then vote for 2 more years. So actually they would go 6 years without voting for a council member. Were we able to get that information?
Yes, we do have a breakdown of the changes in registered voters and voter turnout for each district for all the proposed maps. So if you like, I can put that up on the screen, or if you'd like to, maybe the commissioners would like to ask some questions about it. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
Please go ahead.
I'm going to pull up the document here. And I'll go ahead and stop my camera and start the screen share. Okay. So as a baseline, all this information is from the California statewide database. As a baseline, the current districts, we provided we've compiled the number of registered voters and voter turnout based on the most recent election before the 2020 census. So for city council, that was most likely 2018. So this is going to be a baseline to excuse me, to start off with. And what we've done from here is taken a breakdown map by map of the ones that are remaining, so the 6 remaining maps, and then done a breakdown, kind of a side-by-side comparison. So what you're seeing here is on the top portion, you're seeing just the sum total for all the districts for each of the remaining maps. And then below that, we kind of did a breakdown. So in map 1, for example, map 115, district 1, all of those voters for the new district 1 in map 115 are identical to the current districts. If we go down to, for example, district 3, you'll see that the majority of a slight majority, but still a majority of the registered voters and the voters who turned out for the previous election before the 2020 census will remain in district 3, with the remainder coming from district 4 in map 115. And we see a very similar pattern with 115.1 just because of the similarities. But this is, I just wanted to go through this one here as an example to show you how that breakdown works and what we did to come up with these numbers here. And again, these numbers for the registered voters are census block level data from the California statewide database. And we just did those based on the geography, the census blocks that you all have been going through, in whether it's in Districtor or with the proposed maps that we've been reviewing so far. So you'll see that, in what we noticed in the majority of these maps is District 1 and 2 stayed very much the same. So very little change in District 1 and 2. More changes in District 3 and 4. And then depending on the map, we did see some minor changes to District 5, but not the majority of the changes with the maps that are remaining are going to be in District 3 and 4. So yeah, with that, I can if any members of the commission have any questions regarding the voter data, I'd be happy to take those questions at this time.
Are there any questions? Alex, I think this is excellent information. I think it'll be helpful as we're going through each of the maps to look at this information on that map as we're discussing it.
Yeah.
So I imagine that as we'll probably look at the maps, and then maybe we can come back to this. You can switch back to this screen while we have a final discussion on it to take this information into account. Is that all right?
That sounds great.
Thank you.
So if there's no other questions before we jump into the maps, I can go ahead and stop the screen share and hand it back to Vice Chair Gilman.
Commissioner Earhart, do you need any additional information or clarifying information?
No, I think that covers it. Thank you.
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you, Alex. If we can switch back to map 115. And are there any additional comments by the commissioners on map 115? Okay, I don't see any. I had a couple of comments on 115. So I've gone through and looked at all the maps sort of in a side-by-side comparison for my own personal use. And 115 has a couple of concerns for me. It basically changes a lot, especially District 3 with the Felton Gables and that whole area switching to District 4. And District 3 also becomes a very long and sort of contiguous, but sort of a big chunk here and a big chunk there. So that was a concern of mine for this particular map, was how much it changes the existing districts, primarily 3, 4, and it looks like District 5 to some degree. So that's a little bit concerning to me.
I have
Walter,
a question.
sorry, just a moment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Walter.
Yeah, I also have just concerns with 115 due to the amount of change and due to how West Menlo is splits into 3 different districts.
Commissioner Ballas.
Yeah, I think if we the changes, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think the changes we made to map 131 or the modifications that we requested, and I know we'll discuss that in a little bit, but I think it provides the a more even split of it separates 3 and 4 at El Camino, because we moved those boundaries down. So it actually, if the reason for 115 to exist is so that we have at least 2 districts that have a lot of interest in the downtown business district revenue, the revenue sort of model I think that Commissioner Saad was interested in, won't the modified 131s provide that as well?
It may. I think that that's a discussion we'll have when we reach that map. But I do know that you're right. 131 does take into account splitting the 2 developments, the Spring Line and the Stanford developments. There is another map that does that between 2 districts, Districts 3 and District 4.
So my point being that if that is the case, and I think, and I'll also comment that I'm uncomfortable with moving this many voters around unless there's a significant advantage over another map. And if the one advantage I think that's been presented for this map is the idea of having more revenue, so the revenue split, more revenue interest model in addition to community of interest model. I think we can solve that with a map that doesn't have the issues this one does with the major change, which would allow us to decide. So taking that into account would allow us to decide on whether this map should be continued in contention.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak? Anybody who has who sees benefits to this map that are not in other maps, please, or any other comments? Commissioner Saad.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I would suggest that we consider 115 with in parallel with the two variations that were also provided to us, because they are close relatives to it. And then if we decide one or the other is better than the 115, to vote on which one we keep, which one we get rid of, or if there's a motion that we drop the three of them together. So I think it would be better to have a quick comparison between the 115 and the two variations that were added to it.
All right. I'm not sure who's sharing their screen. Can you put map 115 instead of 115.1 for a moment?
Yes, I'll share that in just a moment.
Thank you. Great, thank you. So I think the main change in 115.1, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that District 4 has a section that runs over to the creek in West Menlo that does not exist in 115. I'm not sure, I don't believe there are other changes, and I don't see any other changes. Does anybody have any comments comparing these two, or comments about 115.1 in general? All right, would we like to vote on 115 and or 115.1? Do I hear any motions?
Sure. I'll move. Voting whether or not to continue to, I vote that we no longer consider map 115 or 115.1. I move that we take them out of consideration.
Thank you. Would anybody like to second that?
I will second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Earhart.
Can we state the cause though, so it's clear to the public?
Oh, okay. I move that we move them out of consideration because I think that variations on map 131 achieve the one advantage that 115 has potentially without some of the downsides of 115.
All right. Admin Assistant Sandoval, would you please state the motion and take a vote?
Certainly, Vice Chair Gilmer. We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Ballas and seconded by Commissioner Earhart to remove maps 115 and 115.1 from consideration. Are there any further commission discussion or questions before we do a roll call vote? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Ballas?
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart?
Yes.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Saad?
Yes.
Commissioner Walter?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Gilmer?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. All right. Moving along to 120.2. I'd like to open it up for comments from the commission. Who would like to be first?
Okay, sure, I'll go.
All right, Commissioner Ballas, please.
I think 120.2, as we talked about before, it does have that jog out between districts 2 and 3 that cuts that instead of going down Willow Road, and it has, 3 kind of creeps a little bit further across El Camino. So again, I look at this, I say I think this is good map, but I believe that 131 or one of the variations of 131 is going to provide cleaner lines, as good a variance, as small a variance, et cetera, as this map. So I don't see that the disadvantage of not going down Willow Road isn't offset by other advantages. I think I have that
Thank
right.
you. Anybody else?
This is Commissioner Hill.
Yes.
So I think one thing about this map 120.2 is that it has a fairly good trade-off between the number of people who are moved to a new district and the amount of variance that it is able to reduce. So it, as opposed to the 6,000 people in the maps 115, which I think we're all uncomfortable with, this map has 767 people, but it reduces the variance by almost the same, well, close to the same number, 694 people. So it has sort of an efficiency in that regard, which is abstract, I get, but it also has the lowest variance overall. It does leave the two big areas of development all in District 3, but it makes District 3 smaller than it is under the current, and so that growth won't result in a disproportionate amount of voters in that district. So I rather like this map. And it does keep that jog and Willow Road does keep South Seminary Oaks in one group, although it's awkward looking.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to comment on this map? All right, seeing nobody else, I do have a couple of comments. They actually pretty much mimic exactly what Commissioner Hill said. This map, I'd like to point out, does have the lowest variance at 7.11%, which is almost a full percentage point lower than any of the other maps that we're considering this evening. I also noticed that it does keep the current two developments, Springline and the Stamford development, that are near completion in District 3. But the District 3 is also approximately 300 people less, if I'm reading it correctly, maybe over 300 than District 2, which is the largest in this case, and close to District 5. So there's some room for growth before we really start affecting the variance numbers in that, in that district. They can grow by over 300 people before it changes any of the numbers in variance. I'm not as concerned with the bump out of the south of Seminary Oaks because we're keeping both streets that make up that small community together. And so I think that we are keeping them in the same group, which I think is very important. And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that District 2 election is this year. So that would be, they would actually vote on an earlier schedule than normally. They would not normally vote for 2 more years. They would be voting earlier, so they wouldn't be delayed by 6 years. So I actually think that this map is good. I like this map.
You make an excellent point, Commissioner, about when people vote, and Commissioner Earhart, that was very wise of you to ask for the study on that. This particular map, 120.2, has 286 people down by Wailea and Cotton, who are going to be moving from District 4 to District 5. What is the impact on their voting? Mr. Sains.
Actually, can I just ask, maybe this will clarify the question. Which districts are coming up for election this year? Does anybody, Administrative Assistant Sandoval or City Clerk Heron, can you answer that? Or maybe City Attorney?
I was gonna say it's the sequencing for elections is codified in the municipal code. So if you give me just a couple of seconds, I can pull that up. One moment.
It's districts 1, 2, and 4 this year.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Earhart.
So moving into District 4 would mean that they're voting ahead of the 4-year cycle.
But they're moving into District 5.
Sorry, so they would be voting, so they would be delayed by 2 additional years. You're right. How many was that?
And not that many. It's 286 people.
Okay.
Additionally, there are 401 who are moving from District 3 to District 2, and so they're getting to vote sooner, which is nice.
City Attorney Burke, can I ask a clarifying question?
Absolutely.
If a city council member leaves their position, do we hold an election or do we appoint a city council member to that role?
That's a good question. And I think the answer is that we would hold a special election to fill that seat.
I asked.
I can actually piggyback off of that because it's something I've looked into recently. The city policy is to wait for the next general election to fill the seat. However, state law does say that the council has the option to either appoint or schedule a special election.
And to clarify, the reason that I'm asking that question is the current city council member for District 5 has chosen to run for county supervisor role in the elections this year. And I don't know what his plans are if he wins or if he does not win, but there is a chance he would no longer be a city council member and we would have to have an election for that district anyway. That probably should not affect our thinking, but it's just a side note that may come into play later this year. Any additional comments on map 120.2?
Well, yes.
Commissioner Walter.
More of a question than a comment. Can we understand a little the area on El Camino, just to the west of El Camino, that little square that is in District 3? Can we talk a little bit about how that differs across our remaining map?
Can we show I'm not sure if this is possible. I believe it's part of the one of the tools that we were provided, but an overlay of the existing city council districts and map 120.2. I'm not sure if that is helpful to you, Commissioner Walter.
The current districts, yeah, there you go.
So, Alex, could you just give us a brief, if you can, description of what changes between the current districts and this map 120.2?
Sure thing, Vice Chair. Let me pull up I actually did write up a description for this. Let me pull that up here.
If you like, I have an analysis I did that
Sure.
I have right here. There are 3 areas where this map differs from the current. There is an area that is up in people who are moving from District 3 to District 4. And that's that area that bump out, the Alma to Ravenswood to El Camino to Santa Cruz to Crane to Oak Grove. So it does go up above El Camino. That is different from the current map. There's another bit that's up in our favorite neighborhood near South Seminary Oaks that moves from District 3 to District 2. So that is bounded by Gilbert, Willow, Middlefield, and Santa Monica. And then last, there's that small bit we were discussing before that moves people from District 4 to District 5, bounded by Santa Cruz and Middle, and then San Mateo and Cotton. And I have the number of the population for each of those bits, but total, this map moves 767 people out of current district to a new district.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.
So if we went with 120.2, where are the lines around that El Camino area?
Here, I can-
Do you know, walk us through that?
Sure. Here, let me unblur. There is the map of, so those are the three areas.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Walter, what was it that you wanted to see? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Hill. For 120.2 versus the current, can you
Sure.
talk about the little area near El Camino? And just tell us the differences. I want to hear the streets, like where we're moving there.
Sure. Yeah. So the area bounded, or the census blocks bounded by Alma, Oak Grove, Ravenswood, and Santa Cruz are currently in District 3. Those would be moved into District 4, as you can see there from the little pop out in 120.2. So that area that's currently shaded in green, District 3, would be moving into District 4. That was mostly moved in, at least based on our notes from the last meeting, to achieve a little bit of a bump there for population balance, but also incorporates a bit more of those areas along El Camino for anticipated future growth prior to the next decennial census.
And then how
Right
about,
now, that area is only 80 people.
and how about on the other side of El Camino? Some people shift, it looks like, near downtown. Can you describe those streets? Hard to read them on.
You mean the section where it looks like Santa Cruz to Oak Grove, El Camino to
Yeah,
Crane?
yeah. Is that
Is there any, are there any population in that?
There are 80 people in there.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah, the population change is actually quite small here. And like I said, the change in population variance by adding these census blocks into District 4 is very minimal. It's more of a geographic change than a population or a demographic change.
Okay.
If I could just add one more thing, the other difference, which I believe Commissioner Hill already covered quite well, was the cutout in the south of Seminary Oaks neighborhood, which does include all the streets for that main residential area, and those are census blocks that will be brought into District 2, currently in District 3, and that's the area bounded by Gilbert Avenue, Willow Road, Middlefield Road, and Santa Monica Avenue.
And it's 401 people.
Correct.
All right. Additional comments on map 120.2. Anybody? Commissioner Saad.
I was about to ask a general question, and most probably the Gianovo gentleman would be able to help us address this. I know the main purpose is to balance the population as mandated by this exercise, but should we also look at the voting by age as well? So I know, for instance, was mentioned that only 80 residents would be moved around, but also from a political standpoint is how many voters from those 80 are. And I think that's a valid question, because eventually those are the ones who are going to vote for the city council member in the future.
Yeah, that's a great question, Commissioner Saad. So typically CVAP, which is citizen voting age population, that typically comes into play when when it becomes possible to create a VRA or Voting Rights Act district to create a majority protected class district, which is basically the definition of a VRA district. In the case of Menlo Park, there is no possibility of creating a VRA district with the 2020 census data. So CVAP, while it is a criteria in some cases, due to the demographics of the city and the general goal of creating population balanced districts that also meet other criteria like being geographically contiguous, taking into account communities and in this case neighborhoods of interest, citizen voting age population would not be a major factor in this case.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah. I noticed all the maps we have left split. We don't have any that split 4 and 5 quite horizontally. And I just want to. I know the old districts didn't do that, but to me, it's a little more appealing for compactness if we split 4 and 5 horizontally.
Yeah, it looks like it splits them all vertically. Is that a request for an action, or how do I interpret that?
Yeah, sure. Point for people to consider that.
I think we did have one map that split 4 and 5 horizontally, and that we discussed at the last meeting. And I think at the time, I believe it was Chair who said, Ariana, said that because Santa Cruz Avenue is such a good dividing line for a neighborhood, that he didn't think that there was much neighborhood continuity by going horizontal. You're right, it does make it more compact, but it doesn't. So I think there were other things wrong with that particular map that took it out of consideration. But I did get the sense of the group that no one really minded having things cut at Santa Cruz. That's why I think we don't have one. Because of the population, it was hard to get.
That's what I remember, is that it made it difficult to make District 5 the right number.
Yeah.
All right. It sounds, sorry, Commissioner Saad?
Yeah, I have one last comment. I would say, is it possible for us to narrow down the choices with the 120 and its cousins to 1, and then eventually move to 130 and its variations and narrow it down to 1, and then come back and compare the one of the 120s that's left and the one of the 131 that's left, and then compare them together. And I think that would be a good exercise, because I believe the 120 plus 1, 120 plus 2 are very close to each other, and then the 131 and the rest are closer to each other. So I'm trying to see if we make a selection of those who are closely related, and then eventually come and compare and contrast and make a decision.
I think we're already down to just one variation on 120. 120.2 is the only 120 variation in consideration at this point.
Okay.
So
then job done for the 120.
So
good idea.
would anybody object if we table 120.2 for a few minutes while we discuss 131 and the variations on 131, and we can come back and compare those to 120.2? Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Commissioner Saad, you have your hand up. Did you have anything else?
Actually, it's my thumb up, but I forgot to lower my hand from my previous question. Thank you.
No problem. All right, then in that case, if everybody's in concurrence, let's move to map 131. And we can either take them each individually, or we can take them as a whole. Does anybody have a preference? Because we have 3 maps, 131, 131.1 and 131.2, which each have small variances from the original.
If one of the commissioners have done the analysis of the three and can present it, that would be a good thing. I think Commissioner Hill is.
I did do that, as you guessed.
Did some job with the previous one. Please go ahead.
With the chair's permission.
Please.
So 131, 131.1 and 131.2, as Commissioner Saad said, are relatives of the same basic idea. And it's 131.2 that has the most changes, which can be summarized at most changes versus the current map. And that can be summarized by saying that there are 662 people, I don't know how many voters, who would be moved to a different district. And the variance of this map is 8.08, which is true of all three maps. So the main difference is that map 131.2 moves a area. I actually left something out. So there is an area that is different from the others, moving some people out of District 4 into District 3. It is a small strip along El Camino. It runs between the boundary and Ravenswood, and it runs between El Camino and the railroad. And in 131.2, that strip, which includes, I believe, that big Stanford project, is in District 3. In the other two, it is in District 4. And so right now, that area has no population, but it will. And so that is a main difference between the most complicated one, 131.2, and the other two, 131.1 and 131. The other two have a difference in people being moved from District 3 to District 4 or District 4 to District 3. So in 131.1, it is the same as 131.2 in terms of people being moved from District 3 to 4. And it is the same, it's basically the same as 131.2, except for the little strip that I just told you about. So, and lastly, map 131 has a larger number of people who are moved from District 3 to District 4, and that is around Crane, Santa Cruz, El Camino, Ravenswood, Alma to Oak Grove. So let me, if someone would bring up 131 versus the current, then we could, oh, you have that already, okay. Then if you would please look at the leftmost map, it's 131.2. And you can see at the boundary of 3 and 4, there is a chunk that has, okay, yeah, thank you. There's a chunk that is moving from 3 to 4 that is not existing in the current. I'm going to stop there because I'm certain that I've lost everybody. I've even lost myself. So
Actually following, I understand.
oh, okay, well, great. So these maps are substantively similar, and it's just boils down to a question of how we want to handle the El Camino corridor.
Exactly.
In specific, whether we want the new Stanford project to be part of District 4 or District 3. And then there's some other differences around the edges that we can get to.
So may I, Vice Chair, may I speak?
Please.
Okay, so I think giving the fact, thank you, Commissioner Hill, I profusely thank you for doing this deep analysis. Seriously, that's very helpful. And we did this just to remind the rest of the commissioners, we did this on purpose we requested this for 131.2 because we wanted to give some economic advantage also to District 3, knowing that District 4 has the downtown business. So I'm suggesting, since maybe we right now decide between 131 and 31 131.1 or compare and contrast, not decide, but compare and contrast 131 to 131.1 to see what the nuances are. And then eventually the one that we decide is more representative, compare it to 131.2 and then make a decision.
One quick note about the difference between 131 and 131.1 is that the difference in the number of people who are moved between districts between them is 56. So there's not a lot of impact in terms of voters moving.
And what would be the advantage if City Clerk Karen, would you be able to leave 131 and 131.1 in focus? So maybe take the 131.2 to the background. Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay, I see that.
Are there additional comments from the commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I will add my comments. When I compared these three maps, one concern that I had with map 131, and please, if I got this wrong, somebody correct me, is that the current growth, and I'm not talking about anything that's on the planning commission's table, but buildings that are near completion, which would include Springline and the Stanford development along El Camino Real. In map 131, both of those appear in District 4. And District 4 in map 131 is the second largest district, only smaller by 50 residents than District 5, which is the largest. So essentially what we'd be doing is putting a lot of new residents into the second largest district and probably making that grow. I don't know if it's significantly, because I'm not sure what their residency rates are going to be or how many people are expecting, but that will probably take our variance of 8.08 and very shortly exceed that number because that will be the largest district there. So I have some concerns about the map 131 for that reason. I did like that map 131.1 split the growth between districts 3 and district 4, which would sort of reduce that number to some degree and make it a little bit more balanced. So as the two maps go, I think 131 does a little bit better balancing of that. 131.2, and we can talk about this in a little bit, is I believe changes both of those developments into District 3. So it's kind of both into District 4, 1 and 3 and 1 and 4, and both into 3 are the differences that I noticed. So
can you say that last part again, Brian? So
sorry. So what I kind of noticed when I was doing it is that the map 131 has all of the growth, all those two new developments that are almost complete in District 4, which is already
both in 4. Okay.
Significant. It's only 50 people less than the largest district being District 5. 131.1 splits those two developments, one in District 3 and one in District 4. And 131.2 puts them all in District 3 as opposed to District 4. So it's kind of where we look at the numbers, and there's going to be a lot of growth, I'm assuming, from Springline and from Stanford near completion. So do we want it going in District 3, split between 3 and 4, or all in 4? Is kind of what it boils down to.
Vice Chair, do you know what the relative size of those developments?
I do not have that information handy. I don't know if that information is available. City Clerk Karen, do you have access to that information?
Thank you, Vice Chair. I don't have it readily available. I can see if I can pull that information. But again, it might take me a little bit of time.
And follow-up question, Where exactly is the spring line? What are the cross streets for the spring line?
Spring line is, okay, the easy answer is they're putting spring line where Foster Freeze used to be.
All
But
right.
it is from Santa Cruz going north about a block to Oak Grove. Oak Grove.
Valparaiso.
Thank you, to Valparaiso, and Merrill Street by the train tracks to El Camino.
And that's the one, Brian, that is built and
It's
just
completed.
occupied, right?
Phil's Coffee is already moved in. If you're
Yeah.
familiar with Phil's, that is that building, I believe. Is that correct? Or is that
No,
one
Phil's
block
Coffee
off?
is in a different building.
I
On
apologize.
Santa Cruz.
I'm a block off.
Yeah, yeah, it's a Phil's Coffee, just for as a point of reference, is on Santa Cruz, close to the Chamber of Commerce.
There's so much new stuff in that area. It is.
I
So
thought-
basically, it's facing the BBC. This is where Phil's Coffee is right now.
are we
I
sure?
apologize. I was a block off.
And so it's not where Foster, because Foster Freeze, I thought, was on the other side of the railroad tracks, the east side of the railroad.
It's on the, it was on the El Camino side of the railroad tracks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Because what's-
Ravenswood is the southern, where those two maps change. So it's north of Ravenswood.
Yeah,
So to sum up is the advantage that 131.1 brings over 131 is that it splits those two developments into two different districts instead of District 4. Is that correct?
That is my understanding when I looked at the maps. Yes.
That is correct. Okay. So how does the chair, vice chair, I'll leave it up to you if we make a decision to focus on one of the pair that we're looking at right now and then start comparing it to 131.2.
Well, I will entertain any motions if any, sorry, Commissioner Earhart.
Oh, sorry, I had just been wanting to echo your concern about putting both of those developments in one district. I prefer the idea of splitting them between the two if we can.
could we take a look and just make absolutely certain that the maps are as we think? So agreed, 131.2 has a barrier that goes along El Camino and it puts the Stanford project into District 3. I am not sure that the maps we're looking at, that any of them put Springline in District 4. Because for instance, 131 has District 4, it does go across El Camino, but it stops at Oak Grove. It does not go all the way to Valparaiso. So I don't think it does include Springline.
That's why I was asking where Springline is.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mr.
It looks
Sands?
like it hasn't, but I don't think it does.
Mr. Sands, can you take a look? I thought that the goal for 131.1 was to split the two, but maybe you can comment on that discussion where the two developments, if they're split between where they lie in the three different maps.
Sure, Vice Chair Gilmer. So the change between 131 and 131.1 is just the three blocks, the three census blocks bounded by Alma Street, Oak Grove, Ravenswood, and El Camino. And those three blocks, as Commissioner Hill previously pointed out, two of them have zero population currently as of 2020 census. So the net change is 56 people added to District 3 and removed from District 4. The only additional block that's changed from 131.1 to 131.2 is, as Commissioner Hill previously mentioned, the single long strip along El Camino, bounded on the north end by Alma Street and on the west end by Ravenswood, and then the river at the city limit. And that block has 0 population at the 2020 census. Again, you all are bringing that local knowledge, as to, new developments going in for the Stanford project and how much that'll impact population moving forward. But that one block of the 2020 census does not have population in it.
So here's the question, I think. Is Springline in that 3 census block area that was moved between 131 and 131.1? So does Springline in
No.
fact move into District 4?
City Clerk Herring, can you bring up an overlay of 131 and 131.1, please?
So
Vice Chair, can I add something while City Clerk Herring is making that change?
Please.
So we pulled the numbers for the Springline project, which will have 183 units, and the project at Middle Plaza and 500 El Camino. I think that's the Stanford one that you guys were referring to. We'll have 215 residential units.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So on 131, the northern boundary of the cutout that moves part of District 3 to District 4 is Oak Grove. That is also true on 131.2.
Correct, yes.
So what happens on 131.2 that does not happen on the other 2 maps is that it splits the developments. The Stanford one goes to District 3 and, no, excuse me, it's other way around.
Other
The
way
one
around.
that happens in 131.2 is that it doesn't split the developments. It
Correct.
puts both of them in District 3.
And then in 131.1, we have the Stanford development remains in District 4, while the Springline development moves to District 3.
Are we
Yeah.
sure of that? That's the question I think there's been
No.
some confusion on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now and it looks like Springline is staying. It's hard to tell from these maps.
So it is absolutely true that the boundary that we're trying to figure out that runs in 131, that runs between District 3 and District 4 and changes that boundary is Oak Grove. It goes Alma to Oak Grove to Hoover.
Yes,
And so it puts Springline in District, it puts whatever's on Valparaiso remains in District 3, but the railroad is the boundary. Therefore, the Stanford project goes into District 4.
so Springline abuts Valparaiso, the Springline development?
Well, you know what? I will bring up their website.
It's across Oak Grove and
The north side of Oak Grove.
exactly the north side of Oak Grove.
Yeah. So it's not,
Oh, so that it's not getting moved then?
it's not getting moved.
So so is there any development that we've talked about or considering in that 3 block three census blocks that contains Merrill Street? The one that 131 moves into District 3, 131.1, I'm sorry, moves into District 3. There's nothing going on there, right?
No, so I think
Yeah,
that
there's no map where Springline goes to District 4. It's in District 3
Okay,
in all the maps. The question is if Stanford goes out of District 3 into District 4.
and that's correct for 131.2.
It is
Commissioner Earhart?
correct that it goes to District 4 in 131 and 131.1.
That is
131.2 keeps them both in District 3.
Okay, just a moment. Commissioner Earhart, did you have a comment?
No, I did not, sorry.
Thank you. Didn't want the conversation to go if you had something to say. All right, so in all 3 of these maps, the change is right at the boundaries. It's the same change, and it boils down to how, as I see it, it boils down to how we want to handle what's essentially the Springline development and the Stanford development in terms of splitting between all in one district or split between the 2. Does that simplify it enough?
And it seems like we want to get them and split them.
Sorry, what was that, Commissioner Walter?
It seems like there are advantages to splitting them. Yep.
Just splitting them up?
So
Does anybody disagree?
uh,
Commissioner Saad?
Yeah, can I just say one thing? So based on the numbers that were provided by the city right now, is if we take an average of 4 people, just for the, as a thought experiment, if we take an average of 4 people per housing unit, and then we were told that 215 units are proposed for the Stanford development. So approximately that 850 people added to District 4. If we keep the Stanford development within District 4, while I think I heard 151 unit on
183.
yeah, so times 4, that's we're close to 400 and maybe 700 in this case. So eventually what will happen, we will maintain, if we do the split, we will maintain, in my opinion, more or less the same population size in both. If the intention is to give District 3 more additional population, future population, then we should include both developments in District 3. I'm not trying to make it to make my opinion, but I'm saying is it all depends how we want to, how we see the future population moving, although our mandate is to consider the 2020 census population blocks and then decide on them. But we're being thoughtful for the next 10 years as to see how things might evolve.
Thank you.
So right now, the population difference with any flavor of 131 is 169 residents. District 3 being very slightly smaller than District 4.
Sorry, can you state that again? I'm not sure I follow.
Okay, right now with any flavor of 131, the difference in population between District 3 and District 4 is 169 people, with District 3 being that many smaller. So District 4 is bigger by 169 people than District 3.
Okay.
So, and again, similarly, not exactly, but Springline and Stanford are roughly the same size. So just first order of magnitude, it would make sense to split them. And since we can't move Springline, that's going to be in District 3, it would make sense to have the Stanford in District 4. I think that logic makes sense. That way they're growing at about the same rate. District 4 is going to grow a little more because it is bigger by 169 people and it's getting a bigger development, but it does offset that.
So I'm seeing a bunch of heads nodding. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Well, I have a question first. Why do you think we can't do Springline?
I believe that if you move Springline to anything other than District 3, you're going to have to remove that whole section of District 3 that is on the west side of El Camino because it won't be contiguous. Correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody may be able to tell me, but
You're correct.
Say that, I'm sorry, could you say that again, Vice Chair? I didn't quite.
yeah, I'm sorry. If you move Springline out of District 3, you would be moving Oak Grove to Glenwood Avenue out of District 3. And therefore the section that's District 3 that runs from Crane to El Camino, Valparaiso to Santa Cruz would be an island and it would not be contiguous.
Oh yeah, we can't do that.
So you have to sort of maintain that link that Springline provides from the rest of District 3 to the part that goes across El Camino. And that's
Got it.
for the population balance. There's a significant population in those census blocks.
Yeah, I think that's why that block of 3 is on to the west of El Camino, because there's just a lot of people that live there.
I'm not sure I follow. If we were looking at 130,
Please. If you're looking at the map as it is now on the screen,
Yeah.
and you see where the block is that comes west of El Camino? Do you see that? That's green. It goes from El Camino to Crane Street and Santa Cruz to Valparaiso. Do you see that?
Yeah.
If you move Spring Line out of District 3, it would close off the connection between the rest of District 3 and that block. Does that make sense?
Now you lost me.
Quite seeing it. Is there any way we can mock it up? Is Geo or Novo can mock up moving Spring Line so we can see this, the island?
I think if we looked at Districtor, I think Gianovo folks, can we pull up Districtor and then just make that change?
Alex, is that possible? And if you'd like a few minutes, we can take a break while you could get that set up, if that's possible.
When I do it on my computer, what happens is District 4 gets big.
Sure.
Right, it becomes the largest by a couple hundred people, so the variance goes way up.
Alex, are you there?
Yes, Mr. General. Sure. We could take a brief recess and I could set up Districtor to put it on the screen.
Great. I say we take a 12-minute recess and we will reconvene at 7:30 if that's all right with everybody.
Great.
Sounds good.
Right. Thank you, Alex. We'll look forward to seeing that.
Thank you, Vice Chair.
I'm on a break.
Vice Chair, you need to mute yourself.
Was I not muted? It says I was muted.
We could hear you that you said you were on a break.
Okay, that was odd. It said it was muted, but thank you.
Commissioner Hill, have you rejoined our virtual dais?
Yes, I have. Sorry, I was
Wonderful.
doing something else.
No problem. So Vice Chair, having everyone return to our virtual dais, you may reconvene the meeting.
Thank you. We'll be reconvening the April 7th meeting of the Independent Redistricting Commission. I would like to start by saying, having reviewed the maps, I misstated something earlier that I would like to clarify. Springline, in all cases, I believe is in District 3. What I was mistakenly thinking of was there is a small development of housing between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz, El Camino and Merrill that is there, and I believe it has approximately 51, I don't have the number in front of me, residents. That is what is changing between these maps, whether that remains in whether that's in District 3 or in District 4. So I apologize for the misstatement that it was Springline. It was not.
No problem.
So that's the change you get when you go to 131.1.
So 131 has that in District 4, I believe. 131.1 has that in District 3.
Right. That makes sense.
And 131.2 looks like it has the entire stretch. So Springline and that additional housing and the Stanford development all in District 3.
That would be correct, I think.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Vice Chair, my question to you is, so what would be the difference then between 131 and 131.1? When I say difference, I meant the advantage of either, what kind of advantage one brings over the other?
I believe this is from what my interpretation is that 131 breaks out that small group of approximately 50 some odd residents into District 4 from District 3. And they're kind of an island of residents that are bounded by Oak Grove, Santa Cruz, El Camino, and the train tracks. So they're not going to be near, they're not going to be near a lot of other residents in District 4. If we keep them in District 3, they'll have the residents that will be in Springline, along with the residents that are in that area of the 7-Eleven Oak Grove in that same district. And it's a movement of about 50 some odd people, which doesn't have a big impact on our variance, but it does have some small impact.
Well, the other nice thing is that if you take that, add that 50 to the Springline number, which is 183, that offsets the difference between so Stanford is 32 larger than Springline. So if you add that little development to Springline, then it's moving in the right direction to make them about the same size.
Yeah.
And that, just to confirm, that's 131.1.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Before the break, I think we had that question of, can we move Springline?
Alex, were you able to fill Commissioner Walter's request?
Yes, Vice Chair Gilmer, if I could go ahead and start my screen share.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, Vice Chair Gilmer, I was able to bring up Districtor and take that request from Commissioner Walter during the break. So if with your permission, I could go ahead and start a screen share to show that that minor modification.
Please do.
Okay, let's see, screen share start. Yeah, so Commissioner Walter, correct me if I misinterpreted it, but based on my understanding from the discussion before the break, we wanted to move the census blocks up to Valparaiso to include the Springline development into District 4, which, to Vice Chair Gilmer's point, it does create this island, which would make the District 3 not contiguous, because then you'd only have 2 census blocks touching at a corner, which is not advisable for geographically contiguous districts. But did you want to include any other census blocks, or did I draw that up correctly?
That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see.
Okay, no, yeah, perfect. I'm hoping that visual is helpful. Commissioner Saad?
Yeah, Alex, may I ask you, please, what's that island? What's the population size of that island?
Sure, that's going to be 133.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think
Sure, no problem.
we can't do that.
We could, I mean, we could add that to District 4 here to make it contiguous. But then again, we're talking that's 7108. Hold on, let me just do a quick back of the napkin math here. I mean, I technically you're still under the 10% variance at that point, but then you're talking into the mid-9s.
Well, why
also,
would,
sorry,
why-
go ahead.
oh, sorry, I'm just, why would we not take the block that is north of El Camino? That one, yeah, and put that back in 3.
Yeah, that one has 0 population.
Oh.
So it would not do anything to improve the balance.
Is it always gonna have 0 population? What is
No,
that?
that's Springline.
Yeah, and I think the main takeaway here from, and I totally understand wanting to balance for future growth, but because the data that we're working with for redistricting is the 2020 census,
Right,
that's the baseline that we have to adhere to for the purpose of redistricting.
Commissioner Saad?
Alex, may I ask you if you put back that 0 census block into District 4 for a second? Yes, and if I may suggest one NIC, okay, and is it possible to put, just for as a thought experiment, would you be able to put that block on that was between Alma and El Camino into District 3, the one that has the Stanford development?
Sure.
I just have one remark I want to make. Map 120 splits the 2 developments between District 3 and 4. And it has a much lower, it has a full point lower variance than any of the map 131s. So we might just compare the 131 batch to 120 just to see how we think they compare.
Let me just take a moment. It sounds like the discussion that we were having before the break, and that may still be relevant, is correct me if I'm wrong, but the general consensus of the commissioners was that we liked splitting at least Springline and Stanford into different districts for growth. If anybody disagrees with that, please speak up.
Correct.
Correct.
And on hindsight, and what I mentioned when we started was that the maps actually, in every case, keep Springline in District 3. But there is a small group of people that do shift between District 3 and District 4. How do we feel about keeping that small group of people that would be between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz and the train tracks and El Camino, where it says farmhouse kitchen, where that census block, we want to keep that together with 3, or do we want to put that into 4? Because if we answer that question, then it pretty much narrows our maps down to which one we want to do it with. Does that make sense? It sounds like we don't want to do 131.2, if I'm reading this right, because that moves everything into District 4. But how, am I understanding this?
Oh, District 3, that moves everything into District.
Sorry,
Yes,
District 3.
yes.
I agree. We don't want to.
That is correct. Chair, may I make a comment, please?
Please.
Yes.
Mr.
So
Sutton.
what I asked Alex to do and on the through the districtor that the previous view that we had is that for the exact same reason that you mentioned, 131 and 131.1 put Spring Line in District 3 and the El Camino and the Stanford development into District 4. So my intention is to have another option, which is to have Spring Line in District 4 and the Stanford development into District 3. And I'll tell you what my thought process is. And again, I'm very cognizant to the fact that we're basing ourselves on the 2020 census. But from a thoughtful perspective also, giving the bigger development to District 3 for the future might create a better balance as we move along. So that's the thought experiment I wanted to go through as we see it the way it is right now.
So you would want to put the Stanford development into District 3.
That is correct. And then because as we know, it's 200, again, I think it's 215 housing units versus the 181. So it's a bigger chunk of population, future population. Again, for the record, I'm stating that I'm basing myself on 2020 census while having a little bit of visionary thought about the future. So we make it easy for the next 10 years and we take care of what the future might bring. I'll put it this way.
Vice Chair, I need to leave just for like 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
All right.
Please continue.
All right. Well, my comment, and I have a comment on that. The only concern I have with the way that the map is showing now is that one section that is west of El Camino that used to be District 4 that does have a population between El Camino and Hoover ends up moving to District 4, and District 4 becomes pretty significantly large, and it won't get much smaller with Spring Line in it. So we may, even though District 3 may get bigger, District 1 is never going to, no, let me back up, I'm sorry. District 1 at this point is the smallest. So we're making a much bigger variation. District 1 will add, I don't know of any current developments being built in District 1 at this point, like Spring Line and Stanford are being near completion. So.
This map that we're looking at right now, I just calculated the variance. It's 9.3%. The current map is 9.1%. So I don't know that I would feel comfortable adopting a map that increases the variance over the current map, but people would naturally ask why we didn't just keep the current one.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
All right. It sounds like we are in consensus on 131.2. So when Commissioner Ballas comes back, would anybody like to make a motion on 131.2?
Sorry about that.
Vice Chair, I'll make a motion on dropping a map, proposed map 131.2 for the fact that it has the two housing developments for future population growth included in one district versus the other. In this case, it's District 3.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Admin Assistant Sandoval, can you please state the motion and take the vote?
Hi, Vice Chair Gilmer. I'm happy to do that. I do want to confirm, Commissioner Sod, that you meant map 120.2. Is that right?
It's
No.
131.2.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Sod and seconded by Commissioner Earhart to remove map 120.2 from further consideration.
No.
Are there?
No.
Sorry, it was
No,
map 131.2.
131.
131.2, correct.
Thank you very much. We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Saad and seconded by Commissioner Earhart to remove map 131.2 from further consideration. Are there any final commission discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Ballas,
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Saad,
Yes.
Commissioner Walter,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Gilmer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes 6-0 with Chair Ariano absent.
Thank you. All right, let us discuss 131 compared to 131.1. And we can narrow this down. If we can narrow this down to 2 maps, then we can have that final discussion. That would be, I think, our next process. So does anybody have comments comparing 131 and 131.1? As I see the 2 maps, the only difference is in one map, the residents, the 50 some odd residents that are living between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz, the train tracks in El Camino, are either as part of District 3 or part of District 4.
In which map a chair would give District 3 a larger population?
If someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that would be 131.1 would give District 3 the larger population. Would include District 3 would have those 50 some odd residents versus map 131, which would have those in District 4.
That's correct.
And one thing to note about map 131 versus 131.1 is that 131 moves more people to a new district. It moves 718, whereas map 131.1 moves 662.
I'll also mention, I think it gives, no, never mind. I withdraw that comment.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hill, what's the difference? What's the number, if you happen to have a back of the envelope?
The number of what?
The difference between the number of voters moved from 131 to 131.2.
Oh, it's 718 minus 662. So that's 38, 48, 56.
Okay.
But it's not voters, it's people.
It's people, sorry, it's people. And that would be the population of, I believe, that development where the
Yeah, you're right.
kitchen
Yeah.
is. So that's the only difference. Commissioner Saad, do you have a comment?
I forgot my hand up, but I would seize the opportunity to say, I think we are, I hear kind of a consensus that maybe 131 is narrowing the 131.1 is narrowing the difference between population difference between District 3 and District 4, hence it's desirable.
Does anybody have, Commissioner Earhart?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think Vice Chair Gilmer, you made a persuasive case before that having that neighborhood in District 3 gives them more a sense of community and being part of other homes in that area. And so I would be in favor of doing that.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some faces nod. Would anybody like to make a motion? Is there any, are there any additional comments?
I will make a motion that we drop map 131 from further consideration.
Vice Chair, I would second that motion.
Thank you. Admin Assistant Sandoval, would you please state the motion and call for a vote?
My pleasure, Vice Chair Gilmer. We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Earhart and seconded by Commissioner Sod to remove map 131 from further consideration. Is there any final commission discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, by roll call vote, Commissioner Ballas,
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Sod,
Yes.
Commissioner Walter,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Delmer.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The motion passes 6-0 with Chair Ariano absent.
Great. We are now down to 2 maps. And before we begin discussion among the commissioners, I would like to open it up to the public now that we have 2 maps that we're considering, to see if anybody in the public would like to comment on these maps and any cases that they would like to cite and benefit of one over the other. Is there any objection to that? Admin Assistant Sandoval, can you request public engagement?
Certainly. Would you please go ahead and formally reopen the public hearing, Vice Chair?
Yes, I will formally reopen the public hearing.
Okay, thank you so much. At this time, any member of the public wishing to make public comment, please engage that raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in from a landline, you can press *9 to raise your virtual hand and comment on the remaining maps under consideration. Okay, we have a hand up. Oh, it went back down. We'll give it another moment, please. Oh, here we go. We have Joan Skurnick. Joan, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to turn your mic on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, I simply would request that the 2 maps be put up so we could see them. Because we can't see the 2 maps that you were discussing. Or
I think we can accommodate that.
Vice Chair Gilmer, would you like me to check for other hands before we redisplay those maps?
Yes, please, if there are any.
Certainly. This will be our final call for public comment on this item on the public hearing. If you would like to make public comment, please use that raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen or press *9 from your cell phone or landline. Okay, we have another hand from Pam Jones. Pam, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. And as everybody else says, I too want to thank you for the work that you're doing, and it is quite insightful. I just had a clarification on the population in D1 as it relates to the development that you cannot consider, but it just should be noted that there are 4 of the 5 projects have in fact been approved. 3 of those projects actually have shovels in the ground. Those projects total somewhere close to 3,000 units. So just to have that on your mind, even though you can't consider it. Thank you.
Administrative Assistant Sandoval, are there any other comments?
We'll go ahead and have one more final call for public comment. Please engage the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen if you would like to make public comment before the Vice Chair closes the public hearing. Okay, Vice Chair, I'm not seeing any more hands.
Thank you. Then we will close the public comment and we will open this up to commissioner discussion of map 120.2 and map 131.
Actually, Vice Chair, I think we're supposed to be considering 131.1. We just eliminated 131.
I'm sorry, 131.1. My apologies.
I have one comment to make about 131.1. Just, and I don't know if these are census, I don't know where El Camino, there's a very thin strip, which I don't know if that's an extra census block. This is basically the road at the base of that section that 131.1 moves into District 3. But just to point out that assuming that El Camino Real is now actually the dividing line between District 3 and District 4 in that section, it does give District 3 a little bit more of the sort of revenue sharing along that dividing line.
Just to add to the conversation, one of the positives of 120.2 is the lower variation, I believe, 7.11 versus 8.08. One of the negatives, you could say, of 120.2 is it has that bump out off of Willow Road to the south of Seminary.
Vice Chair, this is Commissioner Earhart. Could we ask Mr. Sands to put up the comparison of the number of whatever number of voters would be delayed by voting for at least 2 years under both of these maps?
Yes. Mr. Sands, could you bring up that data that you provided earlier for a comparison between these two maps?
Sure, Mr. Gilmore, let me put that up right now. Not currently on the screen, I believe will be booted, but I think I can bring them both up. Let me. Yes, Vice Chair Gilmore, I got just, is my audio okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So if we look at map 120.2, we look at, or it looks like we're really focusing in now on District 3 and 4. So for District 3, 120.2 compared to current districts, it stays the same. District 3, all of the voters for that district in 120.2 come from the current District 3, so no change there. From District 4, it is taking a little bit from the current District 3, and again, that's just mostly due to the population change that's occurring in this case. This is a very small number, but the majority is staying the same compared to the current districts. The vast majority. I mean, we're talking in the 97-98% range.
And I believe districts 1, 2, and 4 vote sooner than districts 3 and 5. I believe that was stated earlier.
Yeah, so in this case, you'd essentially be moving 39 total registered voters into District 3. So the impact as far as the voting order would be minimal. One thing I think I should point out is that this current registered voter count does not account for people who may become eligible to vote within the next 10 years. So that's also one thing to keep in consideration.
All right, good point. Thank you. Additional comments, commissioners?
Well, I mean, one quite obvious difference between these maps is the treatment of the line between 2 and 3 and whether or not it tracks Willow Road. While we are keeping the South Seminary Oaks in one piece, it's a different line.
So I think the question there boils down to which do we feel is more important, keeping Willow Road as the dividing line or keeping the variance lower? Because I think that that's why we moved that south of Seminary Oaks into District 2, was to balance the numbers and get the variance as low as possible. So that's one thing to consider. I have one other point, and I like map 120.2, but I have one concern that what we had discussed earlier with that population of 56 people in near Oak Grove, between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz, the train tracks and El Camino. In this case, they are separated into District 4. We could move them without, I don't believe we'd be impacting our variance numbers at all. We could move that one census block back into District 3 if we felt the desire to do that, because the numbers, the variance on this map, I think, are primarily between District 1 and District 2. So making a small adjustment between District 3 and 4 should not have an impact.
And if we were to do that, then essentially you'd have a map that does everything that 131.1 does. It has a lower variance and does have that little jog out off of Willow Road, but doesn't intersect a neighborhood.
Right. The only other difference I see is there's a divide between 4 and 5 where it goes between changes from San Mateo Drive to Wailea Drive. In map 120.2, it is Wailea, and in map 131, sorry, in map 131.1, it is Wailea, and map 120.2, it is San Mateo.
Overall, between the two maps, the total number of people displaced is only different by 100. So map 120.2 does have a lower variance, but it displaces more people by about 100. And the differences between these maps are not dramatic.
What about the little block? Is there a difference between can we zoom in on the block that is sort of near Crane Street?
I would.
And is that a difference between these two maps?
Yes.
Yeah, it does look like with map 120.2, it extends to Crane Street, and with map 131.1, it stops at Hoover.
That neighborhood, to me, feels more connected to District 4 in a way. You know, it's on the same side of El Camino.
Right, but I think for population reasons and all these things we've been looking at, there's that one block, not both the blocks, but the one block is been kept in District 3.
Right, the one block.
Yeah, it looks like the current city council districts extend to Crane for District 3 today.
Sure.
Right. Do we clean it up or?
Is there any further discussion? All right, so I guess we need to decide which map we prefer. 120.2 or 131.1. So I'm going to do this just on a straw poll with if well, actually, I'm not sure how we should decide between the two of them. Do I have a motion on one map or the other?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we adopt map 120.2 as the new electoral map for the city.
Do I have a second? All right. It sounds like we do not have a second on that. Would somebody like to make a motion on map 131.1?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we select map 131.1 as our new boundaries.
Would somebody like to make a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Admin Assistant Sandoval, can you please state the motion and take a vote?
Yes, Vice Chair Gilmer, I'm happy to do that. We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Ballas and seconded by Commissioner Earhart to select map 131.1 as the proposed final district map. Are there any final commission discussion or questions before we do a roll call vote?
So yes, can you show that map 131.1?
Yep, there it is.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or
Yeah, it
questions?
seems, so the improvement in variance between the current map and map 131.1 is only a point. And so the 600-ish people who are moved might wonder if that was a trade-off that was worthwhile, but if we adopt map 120.2, we could bring our variance down to 7% without displacing that many more people. So, you know, citywide, it would seem as though it were a better compromise.
Commissioner
Despite-
Hill, Commissioner Hill, what are you comparing the? Did you restate the first thing you were comparing the change to the current census blocks, or the amount of change versus the 2010 districts? Is that what you were comparing?
I am talking, when I say people being moved, it's what we've been talking about when we say how many people are moved from their current district into a new district if we adopt this map. So the old map versus whichever new map.
Right, and you were saying that I'm just going to apologize. Please repeat your argument. I lost in the middle there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of map talk.
Yeah.
So the current map has a variance of 9.16.
That's the current districts.
That is the current map, the current districts. They have a variance of 9.16.
Okay.
If we adapt map 131.1, which there is a proposal to adopt, takes our variance down a point-ish to 8.08. Map 120.2 takes us down to 7.11. And it only displaces about 100 more people. And when I say that, what I mean is, if we stick with the current map, if we adopt the current map as the next map, nobody changes district. If we take map 131.1, 662 people and some number of voters among them have a new district. And we might consider that these people would be confused and irritated. They might not, but someone probably might ask, why did you have to change my district? I liked who my representative was. And so we would need to be able to say it's in order to make sure that the amount of people in each district are more equal. And so we can make that argument, I think, a little more, a little better if we look at map 120.2, which has a variance of 7.11. And that number of people who are displaced is about 100 more than map 131.1. So it's 767. So my proposal is that by adopting map 120.2, we vastly improve the variance over the course of the coming 10 years. That'll pay off in terms of people being equally represented. And we're not inconveniencing that many more people.
I have one comment along those lines. If you look at the data between the two maps in 120.2, District 2 is the largest population by about 62 people over District 5. And we have not discussed any growth currently happening in District 2. Map 131.1, District 4 and District 3 are very close to the maximum. District 5 is actually the maximum, but we're discussing growth in both of those two districts. So, you know, who can tell what'll happen over the next 10 years? But if we map 120.2 right now looks to be able to handle the growth in districts 3 and 4 a little bit better than 131.1. All things considered.
Vice Chair
Walter.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we could, Vice Chair, if we could ask the GeoNovo people while we're in this final discussion, if they have any comments they would like to share with us.
Please, Alex, Jesus, do you have any comments on the two maps that you would like to make?
Sure, Vice Chair Gilbert, I can go ahead and kick this off here. Starting with the map, I will say that for both of them, I mean, they're both slightly better, slightly more balanced than the current districts. I'm not sure if most of the wiggle room as far as population variance more or less went away pretty early on by really keeping District 1 north of Highway 101. The main points that we're kind of boiling it down to now is, do we want to have Willow Road as that clean boundary between District 2 and 3, or do we want to have this little this branch out, you know, into the south of Seminary Oaks? The actual changing of districts between voters, I know that's been quite a significant part of the discussion this evening. Regardless of how the lines change, whenever redistricting happens, it's inevitable that some number of people will be pushed, you know, either back 2 years or move forward 2 years. So I'm not sure if that's if that should be as much of a consideration. It certainly is a consideration, but I'm not sure if it should be a significant determining factor for one map or the other, especially when considering population balance, easily recognizable boundaries, neighborhoods, communities of interest, all these great things that the commission has discussed up to this point. So those are kind of my final thoughts about these two maps. Again, I would say both of these they're very good maps. They meet all the criteria for redistricting. And with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Jesus if he has any quick thoughts to close it out.
Okay, and commissioners, thank you for inviting us to this process. Basically, I'm echoing what Alex has said. You've done far and above what most folks would probably do in this situation. And again, the issue of voters is not one that is among the primary criteria for redistricting. It's population balance, communities of interest, recognizable lines, and both of these maps follow that criteria. You know, voters do come and go. They change, you know, with every election. People, you know, new people come in to vote, others drop out. And the data that we have here is from the 2000 election. So we don't have any, so things might go up or they might go down later on. But voting and the change of voters is a criteria to be considered, but it is really not at the top of most of the redistricting process. The redistricting process is basically a reset of jurisdictions, and I think that's the important part. Again, we don't have any VRA here or any real discussion over geography. You'd be amazed at what we've seen in some other jurisdictions, but none of that is occurring here. You basically have a choice between two maps that are adequate and I think fill the need of the city for the next 10 years. Of course, population growth and all of those things are important, but as Commissioner Saad and Wooler have said, it is not a primary criteria. So you've got two maps here, and whatever map you select, it will be more than adequate for the city for the next 10 years.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Saad?
Vice Chair, may I ask one more? I have one final request is, would you be able to invite the public to make their final comment before our vote?
I believe we should be able to accommodate that. Admin Assistant Sandoval, I would like to open up public comment one last time before we vote on this motion. Is that acceptable?
I believe so. City Attorney Burke, do we need to reopen the public hearing one more time?
Might as well be on the
All
safe
right.
side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just want to be inclusive.
Yeah.
I would like to officially open public comment before taking this vote.
Okay. Any member of the public wishing to make public comment at this time may do so by using the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen or pressing *9 now. Okay, this will be our final call for anyone in attendance. If they would like to make a final comment, you can do so by using the raised hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Okay, Vice Chair Gilmer, we do not have any hands at this time.
Thank you. I will officially close public comment. And if there is no further discussion, I will ask to call for the statement of the motion and a vote. Admin Assistant Sandoval, would you please state the motion and call for a vote?
I'm happy to do that, Vice Chair. The motion on the table is from Commissioner Ballas and seconded by Commissioner Earhart, and that motion is to select map 131.1 as the proposed final district map for the city's voting districts. Any final commission discussion or questions before we roll call vote? Okay. Commissioner Ballas,
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
No.
and I'm sorry, Earhart, can you repeat yours one more time, please?
Yes.
That was a yes, thank you. Commissioner Hill, that was a no. Commissioner Saad,
No.
Commissioner Walter,
Yes.
can you please repeat Commissioner Walter?
Yes.
Thank you. And Vice Chair Gilmer?
No.
Okay. The motion fails with Commissioners Hill and Saad and Vice Chair Gilmer dissenting.
Thank you. So doesn't mean that 131 is out of the running. I think we just need a little more discussion between why some of us are favoring 120.2 over 131.1. Before we start that discussion, I would like to make a motion that we make one change to 120.2 to move the boundary between districts 3 and districts 4 to include in District 3 the census block between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz, Merrill Street, and El Camino, which is that 56 population into the same district as their surrounding neighbors.
A second.
Admin Assistant Sandoval, would you please state the motion and call for a vote?
Can we just have a look at what that would look like?
Oh, yes, please.
I'm not certain I've understood.
So that's moving, the discussion earlier that we had on maps 131.1 and 131.2 was to include that census block into, is that 120.2? To move that census block in with their neighbors, essentially. So keeping it in District 3 versus moving it into District 4. I'm not sure who's using Districtor, but I do not believe that 120.2 included some of those census blocks that were selected there. So it's essentially keeping that group of 56 individuals.
The ID number of 120.2 is 121142. 121142.
Yeah.
There it is. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm thank you. I think this is useful. So it would essentially be moving the census block that's immediately under the hand from District 4 to District 3. Just that one. So that's what I'm proposing with my motion.
I'm confused now.
Sorry.
So this is not the same as the change that was made to 131.1, which was 3 census blocks. Now you're asking just to change 1 census block?
I am, and the reason we agreed on this change in maps, I believe 131.1, to keep this small group of individuals together with.
But yeah, but I think it was 3, it was actually 3 census blocks that we changed.
Well,
Yeah, that one there too.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no population currently in, I believe, the census block between Merrill and the one that your finger is over. Can you get the population data for that? Yeah, so there's 0 population in those two. But there is a group of 56 individuals in that one that I just wanted to try to keep with the rest of the residential in that area. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, thank you.
It should not have any impact on the variance.
It does make for an odd look.
Well, I mean, theoretically, we could also move in the block next to it, as there is no population, and
Yeah.
right there we could make it look like that without any additional movement of people.
Right. I think that would be preferable. Right. Just to. Yeah.
All right. Then I would like to modify my motion that we include the 2 census blocks between Santa Cruz Avenue and Oak Grove and Merrill Avenue and El Camino into District 3.
I think the one directly to the right of that was also used to be District 4. No, not to the right. Sorry, up. That one. I think that was in District 4. So that would also move.
Is there a population in that? That's the.
It doesn't matter. Just otherwise you'd have a
Okay.
you'd have a block of 0 population in District 4 that was not contiguous. So
I just want to make sure we weren't moving more people. I didn't want to just modify the numbers. So I'm sorry. That's why I was clarifying. So I will again amend the motion that we move the 3 blocks between Oak Grove and Santa Cruz, and between El Camino and Alma into District 3.
A second.
Assistant Sandoval, we have a motion and a second. Would you please state the motion and call for a vote?
Thank you, Vice Chair. So at this time, we have a motion on the floor by Vice Chair Gilmer and a second by Commissioner Walter to proceed with map 131 with proposed edits made by Vice Chair.
I'm sorry, map 120.2 with proposed edits.
My apologies. 120.2 with proposed edits from Vice Chair Gilmer. Any further City Council question or City or Commission discussion or question?
I guess I'm a little concerned about making changes like this on the fly without double checking that we haven't messed anything up.
Would you like, we can ask Gio Novo to tell us if there's any variance changes with these, if that would help.
That would help me, yes.
Mr. Sands, can you check the numbers based on the modifications that we are proposing to inform us if there is any change in the variation in the variance from the 7.11%, please?
Will do, Vice Chair Gilmer.
There can't be, because District 1 is the smallest and District 5 is the largest in this. And so the variance, that district doesn't even count in the variance calculation.
That is correct, Commissioner Hill. Since we're not modifying either the high or the low, the variance will remain unchanged. Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill, and thank you, Mr. Sands. So
Vice
there's
Chair
no
Gilmer, sorry, if I could have
Yes.
a quick moment. In the interest of the fact that we're going to have to draft a preliminary redistricting plan that's going to include a lot of the information that's being shown on the screen right now, Mr. Sands or Mr. Garcia, are we able to calculate this information in light of this new change?
Yes, we can, but it's going to take me a little while because
Okay.
I run it through a process that collects and reassigns the data. I mean, Alex can try to do it manually, but we have a procedure for calculating all of this. If you were to select this map, I could get it done and have it for you within a couple of hours if you want, if you would like to do that. But it does take a little bit of time, but I can get right on it for you and get it to you as soon as possible.
The reason I ask is because we need to have our final map as well as this information in the preliminary district report posted tonight to ensure that we meet our 7-day statutory posting requirement. So it's if we can get it done tonight, then that works. But I have some concerns about that actually working out, considering it's 8:30.
Yeah.
I can get started and get back to you the data literally as soon as it's done, but it is a procedure. And again, it's only 56 or so people, but there's tons of stuff that needs to get done to reallocate them and then verify and
Understood.
And obviously the tables won't look as pretty as you have here, but that can come afterwards, but
Yeah.
you can generate data tables for you that show us.
Assistant City Attorney
Sure.
Burke, if I could just jump in here. Because of the deadlines that we're talking about here, having to have those reports done tonight. Yes, I'm on the same page with Jesus. We can begin making those modifications now, but we're also having to allow time to generate, albeit a slightly modified map plus the demographic report, the modified demographic reports that go along with that, which before, we've been talking about even on rapid turnaround times, doing that in a day or two. I don't want to, well, I shouldn't say, I would rather not if at all possible, take the chance at passing that midnight deadline that we have, and going awry on that 7-day period, before the adoption of the maps on the 14th. That's
Thank
all.
you. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's why I wanted to see what the turnaround was. So,
I mean, I want to say that I want to say 80 to 85% chance we can get that done before 11 p.m. today.
right.
But then we're also talking about, you having to work with the commission to draft that report tonight.
Right.
I can get you the raw data tables that don't look as pretty as this. And that we can get done right away. But again, as Alex said, creating the maps and the interactive stuff, and actually a table as nice looking as this one, it'll be very, very challenging to get it done today.
And
All right, so what I'm hearing is that there's some limitations to making changes to either of these two maps at this point. And in lieu of the fact that we're discussing a very small number of individuals and only their city council districts, I would like to withdraw my motion. Is there any objection to that? All right. Administrative Assistant Sandoval or City Clerk Heron, I would withdraw that motion at this time.
Thank you, Vice Chair. We will strike it from the record.
Thank you. So we are down to deciding which map we prefer. Does anybody have any additional discussions for or against one of the particular maps?
Vice Chair Gilmer, if I could quickly just add one thing, and it sort of piggybacks onto what the GeoNovo folks were mentioning earlier, which is that you folks have done an incredible job of going through the statutory redistricting requirements and making sure that all of the maps that you're looking at comply, and thinking about those concerns. The other things that have been the subject of discussion tonight, the increased development and the potential for people, their vote being delayed by 2 or 3 or 6 years or whatever the issue was. Those can be considered, but we really, I would encourage you folks to focus on those statutory criteria. And I can understand how at a certain point, they're all the same between the two maps, but that is kind of going to be the basis of our discussion for the preliminary redistricting map. So that's what I'll be asking you about as soon as you pick a map. So just keep that in mind as you carry on. Thank you.
Understood. And if I can just say, I think I speak for the commission, that we've addressed those issues, the larger issues earlier on. And at this point, we are just trying to balance on the minutia of these maps.
Yeah.
I think that either map is good. So whichever one we choose, I think will satisfy the needs that we are here to meet. Sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Walter.
I'm sensitive to the fact that it would be nice for the city if we had a unanimous or close to unanimous vote. So I think it'd be helpful to have just a few more minutes of discussion. I will share one of the things that's affecting me with 120.2, and I'm happy to hear, is that it, and can you take away the comparison for a second, please? It looks, yeah, if you could take away the comparison, that'd be great, yeah. I mean, District 3 just starts to look odd. It's, it has, I know, it just has some odd lines to it. And it looks like we've over-specified a little to me. That's one of the things that's affecting me. I'll pause there.
Well, one might say that in order to achieve the improvement in variance, that we had to create some lines that look that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the question is how important do we feel the difference in variance is? As long as we're below the statutory requirement, it's better to be lower at some point, but at a certain point, how much lower it becomes better. And I do think for me, 131.1 is a more compact set of districts. So if you were to take away, yeah, just look at 130, that just looks geographically more compact and more reasonable. And because it also goes with some of the other things we've talked about in terms of future-proofing it with the development split and that little block of 56 people that Vice Chair pointed out being in district, going into District 3 where it sort of is more belongs. I think those factors for me outweigh a variance where both maps are below the variance we need it to be.
Well, both maps do split those developments.
No, they
Yeah.
split Springline and Stanford, but there's that little block that Vice Chair was concerned about, and I thought it made a good case that it made sense. They make more sense in District 3. And then we also have the original argument for 115, which is it gives a better, a more even split between Districts 3 and Districts 4 in terms of the revenue generating ability of the El Camino corridor.
I would agree with what Commissioner Ballas said. And for me, I like keeping Willow Road as the dividing line between 2 and 3. I just think the lines are much cleaner and much more easily understood with 131.1 as opposed to 120.2.
And I hear the commissioners who are saying it's a little unfortunate that we're going to have a 1% more difference. But,
You're cutting out, Commissioner Walter.
oh, I was saying, I hear the commissioners who are saying it's disappointing that we'll have the 8 versus 7. Yeah, but I think the other things, at least for me, outweigh.
And the other thing to point out with that is that because of the housing element that we're, continue to struggle with the last go around and the new go around, we're going to have significant growth over the next 10 years. And, I know we can't take that into account formally, but I also think it's that variance is going to change. So being too precise about the variance, I'm not sure, is a benefit.
May I speak, Vice Chair?
Yes, Commissioner Saad.
Yeah, so just to address the variance issue, just from a statistical point of view, remember that this is currently as it stands, it's the difference between District 1 and District 5. So no matter what Springline and Stanford development are going to add, in my opinion, it's not going to alter that variance because it's dictated by District 1 and District 5. As Ms. Pam Jones mentioned, there are, I think, 3,000 units, housing units slated for District 1. And so that might bring the variance even closer and tighter, is because of the development in District 1. But I don't think there's any bearing on the variance regarding the Springline and the Stanford developments, just to make the point from a statistical point of view.
Well, looking at the numbers on map 120.2, there's a smaller population in District 3 and District 4 than there is in map 131.1. So any growth that took place would have a little bit more room before it started changing the variance numbers, I believe. I personally think that I understand the bump out on Willow Road. I know that neighborhood pretty well. It's a pretty self-contained neighborhood because it was bounded by the seminary for a long time with no houses until they built Vintage Oaks. So it's an old neighborhood that's somewhat close. I would not want to split it up. I am not as concerned about moving it in whole to maintain a tighter or a lower variance. And I just think that while we will see growth over the next 10 years and changes, if we start with the lower, it'll take longer before there's likely to be a significant deviation from that. That's why I favor 120.2. But as I said earlier, I think both these maps are fine. Additional comments?
Rock, paper, scissors?
You want to do straw poll?
You know, one thing occurs to me, which is that, yes, both these maps are quite good. And so if we vote and find that we're divided between two very good maps, we could decide that as whichever one has more votes, that we unanimously recommend it. So
Straw poll right now.
Would somebody like to make a motion? Unless there's additional discussion, I think we've all had a pretty good say on this. So would somebody like, please, Commissioner Saad?
Chair, I was about to suggest, since we gave 131.1 chance for the vote, if the rest of the commissioners are okay with it, I can propose a motion, or I can move to say, let's vote on 120.2 and give it a fair shake at this point.
Are you making a motion, or are you asking for?
You guys are done with your with any comments, I would move to make that motion.
All right. Commissioner Saad is making a motion to vote on 120.2.
Let me make the motion officially.
Please do.
I do move to put proposed map 120.2 for the vote to be adopted as the official map for this the IRC map recommended for the city council.
I will second that.
All right. Assistant Sandoval, can you state the motion and take a vote?
Yes, Vice Chair. We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Saad and seconded by Commissioner Hill to select map 120.2 for adoption. Are there any final commission discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Ballas?
No.
Can you repeat that one more time?
No.
No, thank you. Commissioner Earhart?
No.
Commissioner Hill?
Yes.
Commissioner Saad?
Yes.
Commissioner Walter?
No.
Vice Chair Gilmer?
Yes.
Okay. The motion fails with Commissioners Ballas, Earhart, and Walter dissenting.
Oh no, we need Chair Ariano.
Yes, we actually do. I am going to make a motion that we vote on map 131.1 as the map that we submit for consideration for the redistricts.
I'll second that, Vice Chair.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Marquardt, do you have a comment?
I don't have a voting, but if it sways this, my preference is for 131.1. I think having an understandable limit around Willows Road feels better for me in this case, between two very good maps.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, did we have a second?
This Commissioner Saad, I did second your motion, Vice Chair.
Thank you. Assistant Sandoval, can we state the motion and take a vote?
Yes, Vice Chair, we have a motion on the floor by yourself, Vice Chair Gilmer, and seconded by Commissioner Saad to select map 131.1 for adoption. Is there any further commission discussion or questions?
I have a question. Vice Chair Gilmer, are you making this proposal in order to, or who made the proposal? Was it?
I made the proposal.
I can't tell who that is.
Sorry, this is Vice Chairman Gilmer.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking that you made that in order to unanimously select a map that is a suitable map and move forward with submitting it for the public review. Am I right?
You are correct. I made the motion because we were divided on map 120.2. I wanted to see if the comments had swayed any opinions on map 131.1. Does that answer your question?
It does. It's simply that okay, thank you.
Sorry. Anybody
No.
else?
Just had to think.
Any other comments? All right, Assistant Sandoval, can you please state the motion and call the vote?
Yes, yes. Once again, the motion on the floor is from Vice Chair Gilmer and seconded by Commissioner Sod to select map 131.1 for adoption. By roll call vote, Commissioner Ballas,
Yes.
Commissioner Earhart,
Yes.
Commissioner Hill,
No.
Commissioner Sod,
Yes.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Can you repeat that, please, Commissioner Walter?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Vice Chair Gilmer?
Yes.
Okay. The
And
motion,
at this point, I would like to change my vote to yes.
okay.
Thank you for making it unanimous, Commissioner Hill.
The motion passes unanimously with
Happy
Chair
to help.
Ariano absent.
Thank you. I am glad that we have had a very involved discussion. I think it speaks very well to our commitment to this process, that we did not settle easily on our chosen map.
We didn't go down without the fight.
A friendly discussion among civil adults.
Wow, what a
Congratulations
refreshing
to the-
difference.
Yeah.
Thank you. At this point, I believe we can conclude this discussion and move to item F, reports and announcements.
Oof.
Pardon the interruption, Vice Chair, but we will need to proceed with the written statement of findings for this item.
Oh, please.
Thank you. So I'll reintroduce our Assistant City Attorney, Tamara.
Hello, everyone. That was really fun to watch people make decisions. Doesn't happen that often, so that was great. So now is the moment of truth for my technological prowess. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna stop this, whoever's screen sharing right now, so that I can throw the perfect. All right, here we go. Please don't judge my terrible typing as you watch me type. Okay, so you folks can all see this Word document, Exhibit A, findings, etc.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry. I was looking at my own screen and not you guys. Okay, so I can fill in these, just the figures up here. So we'll go through this and just, so we have this total population deviation, which we're using map 131.1, oops.
8.08%.
Thank you, 8.08%. I'll throw in a little chart, probably the fancy pretty one that GeoNovo provided for us. Same for item C and D as well. We have, I assume this is all you folks wanted to include for continuity criterion. We have a little bit more of an explanation below, so we can kind of come back to that if there's something else that you'd like to add there. Preservation of geographic integrity criteria, AKA communities of interest. I was planning on just saying something to the effect of, yes, they've been maintained, and we have a little bit of a more detailed discussion below. And again, so this is 131.1. The IRC finds that these city council districts created by map 131.1 are compact. Is that a fair representation?
Yes.
Okay. So here, basically what we've done or what I've done is I've pulled the statutory criteria and other like the constitutional criteria, for example, and I've put the language in there. We can go through it. You can feel free to recommend additions or edits as you see fit. As you can see, I was getting a little bit ahead of myself here. So here we've got consistent with the US Constitution, the IRC sought to adopt new district boundaries that are substantially equal in population, determined by the total population of the 2020 census. Incarcerated persons were counted among the city's population where their last known residence was within the city's boundaries. I also wanted to note for the record that we are going to work on the substance together here tonight, and then there may be some non-substantive typographic or formatting changes in the final report next week. So the next criteria that was employed in the decision-making process that I've got here is all of those fun criteria that were in the elections code, section 21601. So we've got this map 131.1 does not contain any areas that meet only at points of adjoining corners, and no bodies of water separate otherwise contiguous district lines. I think that is accurate based on my review of this map, and I wanted to make sure that you folks all agree.
I agree.
Looks like we've got a lot of nodding heads. Excellent. So, and then here we've got kind of a more detailed explanation of the efforts to maintain the communities of interest. As you'll see, I kind of tailored it to the fact that the IRC focused more on neighborhoods in this discussion of communities of interest. So we've got IRC was aware of and sensitive to maintaining communities of interest, focusing largely on ensuring identifiable neighborhoods were not split into separate districts. In considering communities of interest to maintain, the IRC did not consider relationships with political parties, incumbents, or political candidates. And that's, again, part of the statutory requirement. I've listed here all of the communities of interest, AKA neighborhoods, that are maintained by map 131.1. And here we've got these two neighborhoods that are split. And so I spoke with Gio and Novo earlier today, actually, and got this information from them. So if you'd like to take a look at it, we can add, subtract, edit, whatever you feel is most appropriate. So these, I've misspelled communities. Communities of interest are separated by this map 131.1, downtown and West Menlo. Downtown is split under this map because it closely follows the current districts while making minor adjustments to population balance. Is that a fair representation of the reason that the downtown community of interest was split?
Yes.
Yes.
Shaking hands, great. For West Menlo, the neighborhood was split because the Sharon Heights community doesn't have a sufficient population to create a single district on that southwest end of the district or of the city. It was also split to maintain geographic continuity for districts 4 and 5, as well as to ensure population balance. And I think this is what we all did, or what you all decided tonight. I was trying to track it to make sure that I had it correct, but if I've got something wrong, please let me know and we can work through that.
I believe that is correct.
Cool. Anything to add to the communities of interest discussion? Anything that you don't see here that influenced your decision for this map with regard to communities of interest?
Do we want to mention that we had a full discussion of new housing development underway, and or is that, should we just leave that out?
I don't know that that's necessary. I mean, realistically, we want to focus most on the statutory criteria, make sure that we're checking all of our boxes.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there were
There we go.
what is it, density of housing that we looked at and made sure we didn't cut through particular little apartment groups.
Complexes.
So let's see here. Maybe we can just add that here and say, let's see. the
We
following-
took into consideration multifamily housing.
Let's see here. We'll put that at the end. Oops.
Developments.
Sure. Focusing on maintaining multi-family housing in the same district rather than splitting such developments. Does that sound reasonable?
That's reasonable.
If you have a typo, you need to put in maintaining ing.
Where are we here? And you know what's been very annoying the past few days? Maintain.
ing. There you go.
My Word doesn't put the little squiggly red line under my misspelled words right now. I don't know what's going on. Sorry, Mr. Sains, did you have something to add?
Just may have already been sufficiently identified near the top of the document for elections code on the election code section. I'm not sure if you wanted to point out that this did also follow the specifications or all the statutes within the California Fair Maps Act. I know that elections code number actually specifies is part of the code. I'm not sure if it would be helpful to just identify California Fair Maps Act. That was all.
Thank you. That's helpful. Let's see. Prescribed. Why don't we do this? Prescribed by the California Fair Maps Act. All right. Excellent.
Well,
Okay.
we're up here. You're missing a T in Constitution.
Thank you. I'm gonna.
There it is.
When we're done with this, I'll go through and spell check and make sure everything looks pretty.
Look, Tamara, you might want to look under the tools menu when you're trying to re-input that spell check.
How did this happen on its own? It's very annoying. All of a sudden, now I can't spell. Okay, so unless anyone has any other additions to the community of interest section, I think we can move on over to this identifiable and understandable district boundaries bullet point. And I know you folks were talking about this with actually comparing 120.2 and 131.1. So does someone want to take a stab at summarizing why this map?
Well, to the extent possible, it follows major roads. Is that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
I don't know if you want to state that it also keeps, restate that it also keeps neighborhoods intact.
I think we already said that.
We did. It's just restating it in this section.
Well, this map X looks like some kind of great map.
The greatest map of all time. This map also keeps neighborhoods together, which facilitates easily identifiable district lines. Does that look good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, our favorite map X also represents geographical compactness to the extent it's possible and does not conflict with the preceding interests. And then I included this small kind of explanation of why it's so hard to talk about geographical compactness without actually just saying, look at this map and look at how compact it looks. But if anyone has anything more specific or something else that they'd like to add, please let me know.
That looks pretty good, actually.
It reads nicely.
Fabulous. Okay, and then toward the end here, I've got that the IRC ensured that city council district boundaries were not chosen for the purpose of favoring or discriminating against any political party or incumbent, which I know that the commission was very sensitive to. And
I'm sorry if I can interrupt you. Hey, Jesus, did you have a comment?
oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oops. Yes. Were you going to mention that the city of Menlo Park selected an independent redistricting commission? Because there's different methods. And I think that's a very important one to consider. And right at the top, that the city of Menlo Park selected an independent redistricting commission. And
So this document that we were working on tonight together is just an exhibit to a larger report. And so the report that comes before this exhibit includes sort of like the process of how we got here and all of that good stuff. And that's part of the agenda, I believe, as well.
Okay.
Even for tonight's meeting. But yeah, that's a very good point. And we'll also be including that in the final resolution adopting the final map and the final redistricting report. So it'll definitely be there. All right, I think unless anybody has any final thoughts, this looks good to me. I'm going to fill in the rest of this with the clerk's help and Gio Novo's help, and we'll get this posted tonight. Can I have Vice Chair Gilmer, can I have 5 minutes to quickly review this, make sure that I'm not missing anything before you folks are free from having to think about this for a while?
Sure. We will not adjourn until we hear back from you.
Great, thank you.
All right. While we wait to hear back from our Assistant City Attorney, let us move forward on to reports and announcements. Are there any reports from IRC commissioners since the March 31st IRC meeting? No, hearing none, we will move to staff updates. City Clerk Heron, do you have any updates to provide to us?
I'm actually going to take that if that's all right, Vice Chair Gilmer.
Please.
Okay. Thank you so much. Just keeping it very brief as far as staff updates go, City Clerk Karen and I just want to take this time to thank the IRC for all the hard work that you've done, not just tonight, but in the last few months. We also want to let you know that there are current vacancies in several other advisory bodies, including the Complete Streets Commission, Environmental Quality Commission, Finance and Audit Commission, the Housing Commission, Library Commission, Parks and Recreation Commission, and Planning Commission. If you enjoyed working with the IRC and you're interested in serving on another advisory body, we encourage you to apply. And that deadline is coming up on Wednesday, April 13th at 5 p.m. More information is available on the city website. And of course, you could get that from City Clerk Heron or I directly. But it was a pleasure to work with you all, and I'm sure all of those bodies would be very lucky to have you if you are interested in continuing to serve on advisory bodies like this one. But that concludes staff updates, Vice Chair.
Thank you.
And I also just wanted to echo just how amazing this group has been. You know, with an independent commission, it's the first for me. I think it's the first for Menlo Park, and you guys have really set the bar. You guys were on a super time crunch. You have just wailed through, and my hat just is off to you. And I would love to see you all serve in other aspects of different advisory bodies. So again, if you guys have the time, check it out. You have until the 13th of April to apply. And again, you guys have just been amazing. And I know that the city would benefit from having you continue to serve on other bodies. So thank you.
Thank you. I wish.
Excuse me, could I just ask one clarifying question? This is Commissioner Earhart.
Yes.
Clerk Heron, I just wanted to be sure when we were applying to be on the independent commission, there were a lot of prohibitions, like not running for
one of
office
them.
and
Yeah,
but it is allowed to serve on another commission. That's okay?
Correct. You couldn't serve simultaneously on a different commission and the advisory body, or serve on city council previous to the independent advisory body.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Oh, of course. I definitely checked.
So I will just take a moment to use the pulpit since Chairman Arriaga is not here to also say thank you to everybody. And I'd also like to extend that to the attendees who have bared with us through these long discussions over maps for the last several weeks, as well as the initial meetings. We've had the same group of people showing up meeting after meeting, and I very much appreciate that there was active city involvement by our residents in this process. I think it helped. The comments helped guide us, and it was very valued. So thank you to the commissioners, the alternate commissioners, and the public for everything they've done to help make this a reality. We still have one last session next week, and I look forward to seeing everybody at that session. I will now ask, are there any other comments before I call City Attorney Burke back?
This is City Clerk Karen. I do have one more comment. So our meeting on next Thursday to actually adopt the map, we are assuming that will be a fairly quick meeting, and it is a hybrid meeting, so in person as well as virtual. And we would like to extend the invitation for all of the IRC members to join us in chambers for that. We want to do like a little thank you reception. So for any member of the public, for our IRC, if you guys are able to attend in person, it is highly encouraged, and we'll figure out logistics however we can. It's a large enough room. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Assistant City Attorney Burke, are you prepared or do you need some more time?
Hey there. I actually have I have a question for Mr. Sains of Geo Novo. If he can hop on and explain something to me. Hey there. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, proceed with your questions, Assistant City Attorney Burke.
So could you explain the thing that you just texted to me?
Sure. Sure. And this is actually a great point brought up by Jesus, and I think it is relevant enough to be included in the final report. That it's due to the demographic makeup of the city, it was not possible to create a majority protected class district as part of the redistricting process. That is something that GeoNovo, as a demographer, did analyze to a great extent, and also information that we pass along to the IRC to assist with their considerations during the process.
And just to reiterate the criteria would be 50% plus one of a protected class, African American, Latino, Asian, or language minority, and 50% plus of citizen voting age population. And so try as we could, we were not able to create one. So that in many ways alleviates the city from having to deal with some folks out there in the world that might want to come down and say, hey, you're not doing the right thing. So again, congratulations to the City of Menlo Park. I think you picked a great map, and but it is important to state that we did try to create a Section 2 Voting Rights Act, and the data at this point did not allow it.
Thank you. And I will share my screen again so that you can see the proposed edit that I have made in light of that comment. Okay, so I just added this tiny bullet point at the top that says, due to the demographic makeup of the city at the 2020 census, it was not possible to create a majority protected class district pursuant to the Voting Rights Act. Does that sound good to everyone?
Federal Voting Rights Act.
Perfect. Excellent.
And if you want to get technical, Section 2 of the Federal Voting Rights Act.
I do want to get technical. Is it Roman numeral 2 or the number 2?
I think it's the number 2, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so with that, I am actually ready for you guys to have your last gander at the preliminary redistricting report before we take it and make it pretty and post it tonight. So the top will look a little bit different than what you're seeing right now. We'll probably include the charts that Gio and Novo created. And we'll just kind of have this almost like a check mark. Yes, yes, and that they're compact. And then we work through this together. We've got the Federal Voting Rights Act, constitutional issues were considered, and then all of the stuff in the elections code, communities of interest, the reasons that these two communities of interest were separated. I changed the wording a little bit here to make it sound a little bit nicer. And easily identifiable districts because it follows main thoroughfares and it keeps neighborhoods together. And then this little blurb about compactness and not favoring political parties or incumbents. Excellent.
Can I just make one comment? Down where you talked about the multifamily developments, I'm not sure if it'd be more accurate to say areas containing multifamily housing, because it weren't not really developments, but they're an assortment of multifamily housing in certain areas of the neighborhood, Robo Avenue, and some of the other areas. So it's kind of trying to contain, you know, sections.
What about this? IRC also endeavored to avoid splitting areas encompassing multifamily housing developments, opting where possible to keep such developments in the same district.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a really good change. All right. Then I think we have what we need to get this together and posted and ready for the final hurrah a week from today. And I will say, if you folks do decide to run for any advisory committees or other things, we'll be seeing more of each other. Maybe I'll do your ethics training. Super fun. We all love ethics. So that's my plug for more public engagement.
Thank you. Before we conclude today, just thank you very much, Mr. Sands, Mr. Garcia, for all the support you've given us over the past several months. This would not have been
Round of applause for these guys.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Gilmer, the entire IRC. It's been a pleasure working with the IRC throughout this process. I will say, and I think I can speak for the entire team, you all have done an exceptional job considering every aspect of the redistricting process. You know, you all can walk away from this process telling anyone in the public, anyone who asked, that every possible thing was considered. And for that, I commend you all. It's been a pleasure working with you. And it was actually, it was a pleasure to be able to actually meet you all in person in December last year. So thanks again. And it's been an amazing experience.
And Menlo Park is a beautiful, beautiful little place. I would, in a heartbeat, I would move there, but you know, but we're happy where we're at right now. It's a great city with great folks there. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Well, we will see you again in 10 years. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, commissioners.